Good morning. Good morning to Namakwa. This is the Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Church, and we are a come as you are congregation. No matter who you are, what your faith, or who you love, you are welcome here. I want to extend a very special welcome to any first or second time visitors. We would love to stay connected, so please sign up for our communications in the back of the main entrance. We acknowledge that the land that we are standing on today is the traditional and ancestral lands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute people. We recognize and honor the indigenous peoples that were the original stewards of this land, and that we vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. The Namakwa Unitarian Universalist Congregation fosters a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, and acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires inspirational spiritual growth with a free and loving.
Yeah. You have shitty days. Yes.
Shitty days. You talking to me? Yeah, I get that. But we're still here. Wabi sabi. All right, we're gonna start again. No. This Sunday after church, we're gonna do a getting to know you. Are you new to Namakwa? Would you like to learn more about us? Join us this Sunday and on every third Sunday after church for a conversation with Reverend Dana and the membership ministry to get to know us and have a fun conversation. Bring your questions and your stories, and we really look forward to seeing you. And next Sunday's service is with Claire Hamor, The Art of the Failure, a reflective service looking at the beauty of messing up and a hope for grace. Now you're the boss.
I apologize for interrupting, but we do have one more announcement that just came up, that we will have Safeway cards in the back. So
there's Jeannie.
If you want to buy a Safeway or get a Safeway card from Jeannie, she'll be able to help you right after the service. And our Getting to Know You gathering will be in the Aspen room. So just go to coffee hour, grab a little snack, and then come on down the hall into the Aspen room. And if you don't know where that is, ask somebody. So I look forward to seeing you there.
And now, greet your neighbor. Hugs all around.
It's wonderful to hear you sing. Such a beautiful song. I know today is really a celebration of Unitarian Universalism as we look more deeply into who we are and who we want to say we are in the future. So, for our opening words today, I invite you to respond with, "And I am a Unitarian Universalist." And I am a Unitarian Universalist. I am a man and I am a woman. I am non-binary and I am a child.
And I am a Unitarian Universalist. I am young and I am old and I am middle-aged. And I am
a Unitarian Universalist. I am black and white and I am yellow, red and brown and rainbow colors.
And I am a Unitarian Universalist. And I am married and I am single and I am divorced and I'm heterosexual and I am lesbian and I am gay and I am bi or pansexual or transgender. I am queer, cisgender and questioning, and I am
a Unitarian Universalist. And I am a college graduate and I am a high school dropout. I'm a white collar worker and a blue collar worker. I am retired and I am unemployed.
And I am a Unitarian Universalist. I am an atheist, and I am a Christian, and a humanist, and a Jew, and a Buddhist, and a Hindu, and pagan, and mystic, and I am a Unitarian Universalist.
I am healthy and I am ailing. I am an autistic child and I am a palsied octogenarian.
And I
am a Unitarian
Universalist. I am a law-abiding citizen who has never received anything more than a parking ticket, and I am a murderer waiting on death row, and I am
a Unitarian Universalist. I voted Republican. I knew that was gonna get you. Let's try that again. I voted Republican and Democrat and Socialist and Green. I am a Marine and I am a pacifist. I am a conscientious objector and I support a strong defense policy. And I am a Unitarian Universalist.
I smoke and I'm a non-smoker. I drink socially and I'm an alcoholic. I am a vegetarian, I am a vegan, and I love a good steak. And I am
a Unitarian Universalist. I am many things, many other things, some by choice and some by chance. I am part of a common human destiny. I am part of humanity's family. And I am a Unitarian Universalist. We light this chalice now for our individuality and for our interdependence of our community and of this world. Thank you. And in case you're wondering, when I was serving in Colorado Springs, almost half my congregation voted for Trump. So yes, we are Unitarian Universalists. So let us make room for everyone. So I invite you now that each week we remember that we are promise-making, promise-breaking, and promise-remaking people. We are called not to be perfect, but to be faithful to each other, even those who vote differently than we do. So join me as we speak our covenant together as a reminder of the promises we make in this community gathering. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So, if there are any children here of any age, 6 months to 99, come forward if you want to, and I have a story for us. If you want to, that's okay. I promise I don't bite today. Just kidding. But you don't have to. Anybody want to come up? I'm going to play you a song. I'm going to need some help singing, so I don't know. However, Our story today is really one that every adult in this room could tell, and that's one about change. That change is something that happens in our lives. Come on up. Here, I'll sit with you. Let's sit together, shall we? Change is something that happens all the time. In fact, when's your birthday? May I ask? June 28th. Oh my goodness. So in June, your life is going to change because you're going to be a year older. And you were a year younger last year. Can you do more stuff now than you did last year? Yeah, see? And next year you will too, because we change. And have you ever, you might be too young to notice that technology changes, but maybe you can tell that too. You know, back before you were born, maybe 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, we used something called floppy disks to save our information. And we used to record all of our computer information on CD-ROMs, yeah, on disks. And back before that, you know, there was this time before the internet. I know. How could there be time before the internet? You know, and so how did we communicate without the internet? Oh my goodness, we sent paper letters to each other, and we didn't have email, and so we had computers though, so we would save our information on our computers. We would save them on floppy disks, and then we would trade disks around. Oh good, come on up. Awesome. Good. So yeah, thanks for being here. So with all of those changes, I know my mom, she is 82 years old. She's about to have her 83rd birthday. And when email came out, it was like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. You know, this is too big of a change. This is crazy. Why on earth would people communicate by email? Right? And but she got used to it, and she got really good at it. And now I'm bugging all kinds of people about this thing called Google Drive. That's like, oh my gosh, what is this ridiculous thing called Google Drive? I'll never get used to this. I understand. So change can be difficult. And, you know, in Unitarian Universalism, we have a rule. It's a very interesting rule that we are required every 10 years to look through our documents that say who we are and what we believe and who we are together, and reevaluate them and go, I don't know, we better look at this again. Does this really fit who we are now? We haven't changed these since 1985. Oh my goodness. Well, no, it's not before I was born, but it's quite a ways back, right? So I don't know how folks are feeling here, but it's quite a shock to me to think about changing our 7 principles. But change is how life is, huh? I have a song for you. I used to teach music to kids, and in elementary school, I was your music teacher. And all my kids were sad when I decided that I was going to leave and go to seminary. So I wrote them a wild rock and roll crazy song. Would you like to sing it with me? It's called Change, Baby, Change. Okay. But, so all of you have to pretend that you're about 8 years old, maybe a little younger. You want to come over to the piano? Now, there's one thing in this song, you get to scream. Okay? So I really want to hear you scream. Screaming's fun, right? Especially when you're frustrated about a complicated and challenging life, right? Okay, so I'll have you sing along on Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. Well, there are going to be times when you feel really sad and your heart is in pain. Maybe you've lost what you've had. Just remember to shower in the rays of the sun. Give thanks for life when the day is done. Choose to love your life. Sing it. Choose to love your life. Woo! Choose to love your life. Even when it's difficult. Scream. Woo! Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. Well, the blessings of life are deep inside of you. So open your heart and let your gift shine through. Share the joy and have some fun. Remember, your life has just begun. Let your light shine through. Sing it. Let your light shine through. Woo! Let your light shine through. Even when it's difficult. Scream. Woo! Change, baby, change. Life is full of change. 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 Change, baby, change.
Good morning. Unitarian Universalists are privileged to be able to share their personal reflections and be completely vulnerable in front of their spiritual community. But like the song says, we don't have to do it alone. For the years that I have been doing anti-racist work, there were a lot more years that I wasn't. In school, when the kids were wearing the rebel flag belt buckles and saying all kinds of horrible things, I didn't make a stink. I heard about all kinds of abuses firsthand and felt terrible about it, but did I do something? No. I just tried to be nice, and I thought that was enough. Then I moved to New York City, where my friend that I was with was stopped and frisked right in front of me because he was Black in a wealthy white neighborhood. When my Cuban husband started telling me his lived experiences, I began to boil. Then I was headed to a city council meeting with my friend Charlie, who was driving me in his Lexus, when a cop pulled us over and he said, DWB, driving while Black. Finally, when people started giving me filthy looks for carrying my Haitian grandson on my hip in the mall, I snapped. Just like when I used to get the crap beat out of me in high school for standing up for my best friend who is gay, it was game on. Yes, this work is very personal for me. And that's why I'm grateful to be a Unitarian Universalist while so many other faiths are practicing and promoting racism from the pulpit. Our congregations are working on anti-racism. Y'all met my husband, Alex. Right now he's in Southwest Florida putting on a new roof on our house after Hurricane Ian. So he calls me every day with a story about how some ignorant racist treated him. And every day, my loved ones endure that burden. When we moved here to Colorado, he has only experienced overt racism maybe 3 times. It took him leaving to realize how lucky we are to live here. But just because people are nice, it doesn't mean they're not racist. In Florida, they're out of the closet. Here, they're still in the closet, and we know who they are. It's not good enough to be nice anymore. We have to be actively anti-racist because our loved ones are under attack. Not everybody's going to like what we have to say, but I came from a community that burned down before my very eyes. Nice people, the nice people that thought that fascism couldn't take over, those nice people that I've known my whole life changed before my very eyes because people I grew up with just went along and never said anything because they didn't want to make waves. And foolishly, I thought I escaped racism when I moved here. But we've got book banners starting their shenanigans just over the bridge in another little town and in another little town south of us. They're spreading their message, and they're going for the low-hanging fruit first, and that's why we have to get to work. Because in 2 years, our community could be just like my old community if we don't take the responsibility of being actively anti-racist with our UU radical love. And we don't have to do it alone.
Thank you so much, Tam. It's shocking and hard to hear what people of color endure every day. And we all have joys and sorrows and challenges and difficulties. So I invite you now to come forward and share a brief personal comment. If I can get this mic stand to work. Let's try it this way. There we go. I have used a few mic stands in my life. I just want to mention, with all the challenges that each of us face in our lives, people of color face them too as that person of color. So it adds a whole nother layer of complication and difficulty all the time. So just holding compassion for our brothers and sisters of color, Black, Indigenous people of color. Dick, come on up. You're going to say something? You look like you are. All right. He's taller than me.
Just talked about Mickey.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to if you weren't.
We have a sorrow, a congregant on Wednesday, I believe it was fishing with Bill Rosquist and Big Thompson,
You
and
want to tell him who it was?
he went to go back up to the car to get something and got his leg caught in some rocks that were down on the the riffraff that he put down to try and prevent erosion.
Big rocks.
And big rocks, yeah. And about the time he got his legs a little caught, he got a gust of wind blowing him over and broke his leg. So he's sort of tied up. He fortunately it was not a compound fracture. It was only both bones were broken, and he has surgery on Friday, and he's doing well. But I just thought I'd let the congregation know, keep him in his thoughts. They're doing fine. A group of us have already helped provide assistance and meals and stuff like that. So if you want to, you could call and ask about that, or text and ask about that. But in general, I think they're pretty good shape. But I did think that the congregation should know about it. Mickey will probably be here maybe next Sunday, not this Sunday.
I saw Mickey, so this is Mickey McGuire, who fell and broke his leg. And I saw Mickey yesterday, and we had a nice conversation, and he said, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna make it to church tomorrow." It's like, don't you even dare try. So anyhow, we hold them in our love and our heart and our thoughts.
I'm Fran Green, and Mickey is a friend of my husband's. They are both active with Trout Unlimited. And my husband had 2 falls this week.
Oh my.
His first one, he was playing pickleball in Loveland at Pickler, and he fell backwards and got a couple really bad cuts on his arm, but he wouldn't go to urgent care. So I had to bandage it.
Oh
That
my.
night, during the night, I heard this thud, and I said, Bob, he didn't answer. I turned the light on. He was lying on the floor.
Oh, no.
He doesn't know what happened, but he was wearing his glasses because he was reading in bed, and apparently he hit his head
Oh,
on the
my.
floor. It looked bad.
Oh.
I said, you're going to urgent care when they open. He said, no, I'm not. Okay. By the time we finished breakfast, he said, I think you're right. I'm going to urgent care. They sent us to the ER. They did a CAT scan. Everything was fine. He was just dehydrated. They rehydrated him there. It took 3 hours of being there, but he's okay.
Oh, good.
We think. He's
Wow.
got to follow up with his doctor.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh.
sort of good news. Poor Mickey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad he's okay. Yes, let's feel a little heartbeat connecting with our heart for both Mickey and your husband. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Andrea, and the past few weeks I've been thinking about my Jewish roots. I was adopted by a German couple that immigrated here, escaped Nazi Germany, and very, very intense stories that they had. And I grew up listening to stories all the time of people getting murdered and gassed, and people I lived around. It was just the whole Jewish community escaped something awful. So I grew up listening to my mother rant and rave, but never really giving me very much information, just the ranting and raving to be aware of anti-Semitism. And when she passed away, I sort of, in a way, breathed a sigh of relief that I didn't hear the stories anymore. But then I noticed I started telling the stories, and it's like part of her grew in me. And now I have grandchildren, and I'm the one who's speaking up and getting pissed off now. So I really appreciate what was said today, and just constantly be aware of hate and fight it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Andrea. Oh, we hold in our hearts all who have suffered from any form of oppression, but especially our Jewish brothers and sisters who have suffered for thousands of years oppression from people. Anyone else? Any other joys and sorrows?
So Nikki did post in there, but I just wanted to add, he did say special thanks to Bill Rosequist for marshaling the necessary rescue.
Yeah.
Adding that in there.
Great.
And Donna says it's a joy to have a singing, piano playing, rocking man.
I know I was incognito for a few months. Well, thank you. And we're grateful. We're grateful that Mickey is doing as well as he is, but wow, what a difficulty. Bring the mic. All right.
Hi, my name is Mim, and I think this congregation needs to know that I have a cat.
Woo!
But she's only a half-time cat. She was given to me by a friend who lives in Colorado Springs. So she had an arduous and terrifying journey to a big and scary place. And so she hardly ever comes out until I go to bed. Then she jumps on the bed and we cuddle. And yay. And maybe next week I will actually see what she looks like.
That's fabulous, Mim. So we feel our connect with our hearts and that heartbeat for all of our furry friends and all of our pets of any kind. That's a beautiful reflection. Thank you. And let us take a few moments to just be in silence as we hold our own unspoken joys and sorrows. And one of my favorite mentors used to start meetings with me by saying, I'll pray for you, you pray for me. And we would sit in silence and pray for each other. Now, praying might not be your thing, but I invite us now to think about and hold within our hearts the joys and sorrows of those people sitting next to us and all those in this room. For love is the spirit of this church. Love for ourselves, self-love, which we all, so many of us struggle with so much, and love for each other. That's what makes this community. I invite you to breathe in and let it go. Once again, let's take a breath and let it go. And this time we'll hold it for a bit. Breathe in, hold it in, and let it go. And as you settle into your own rhythm of breath, consider how each breath is the gift of life. Life energy, the prana, the chi, the very spirit of life itself. And as we hold our own joys and sorrows, difficulties, challenges, and our hopes and dreams, however the world is pulling you one way or another, remember that you have this gift of being alive, this spirit of life that is moving within you with each breath, with each pulse of your heart, all the way down to your toes, to the top of your head, throughout your entire body. And your mind and your heart, metaphorical and physical. Let us give thanks and gratitude for being alive, even when it's difficult, even when there's change. Let us give thanks for this great mystery of life of which we are a part, and for our relations, and for the gift of love. Let us give thanks for the love that comes to us, the love that is generated within us and flows from us as we care for others. I invite you now to join with me in singing one of the great Unitarian Universalist anthems, Spirit of Life. And one of the ways that we create community, that we share our love, that we care for each other and the world around us, is through our offering each week. Each week, we support a nonprofit organization that helps make a difference beyond our walls with half of the donations that we receive. And this month, this week, we are supporting Homeward Alliance, which operates a continuum of programs and initiatives for families, adults, and seniors, such as basic needs, housing-focused case management, and employment services. I just want to cheer for them when I read that. It's like, dang, that's what I want to support. We are not an alliance of services, they say on their website, but also an alliance of volunteers, donors, agency partners, and other community donors and stakeholders. So we envision a community which is homelessness is rare, short-lived, and non-recurring. Amen. So checks and cash are welcome, or you can donate directly to their website, or donate directly to our website. What am I saying? You can use the QR code there, and I believe it's also in your order of service. So thank you for all the ways that you give of yourself as a part of this community. Thank you. Thank you for all of your donations. This is what keeps this church alive. That's just like that breath of fresh air that we take every moment. We dedicate ourselves and these are offerings to the vision of this congregation, which is to radiate love. Are you radiating out there? Radiate love and peace and justice as together we work to build our beloved community and bring it to the world. Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you. I have this bad habit of waking up first thing in the morning and going, what's going on in the world? And I pick up my phone and I start looking at the news. This is a bad habit. Not a recommended way to start the day. I don't always do this. But when I start looking at the news, you might have this experience too. I feel like the world is such a scary place and getting scarier. It's like banks are failing now. I mean, my goodness, week to week, it's something. And the divisions between people and groups of other people seem to be widening every day. We watch as people are manipulated into believing lies to support the misdeeds of power brokers at the expense of vulnerable and the most vulnerable and marginalized people. So, in light of everything going on out there, why are we here? What does this congregation mean to you? And why did you come here? I always love asking these questions. What are your values that bring you here? For many, it was the need to be in a safe community where we can think and reason however is best for us. To be on our own path towards truth and meaning and still be accepted and supported. I can't tell you how much joy it gives me to be your minister and know that it is not my job to tell you what to think or believe. Thank the God we may or may not believe in. We need to be in a community with other good-hearted, open-minded people willing to explore their own beliefs and disagree. That's great. I love conversations about theology where we do not agree. Those are like my favorite, but I'm a nerd. What can I say? But we need to be in a community that is willing to allow ourselves to have an open heart and to have compassion and to find ways of expressing it in the world that brings justice, equity, and peace. A great quote by Cornel West I was sharing with Doug earlier this week says that love, justice, is what love looks like in public. I just love that quote. Justice is what love looks like in public. My friends, we are big-hearted people who care about the suffering in the world and the suffering within our community. And we're willing to work on dismantling racism and protections for marginalized people, LGBTQ, undocumented immigrants, and women whose reproductive rights are being taken away all over this country. We're not the people who sit back and go, oh, that's too bad, and don't do anything. We are the people that say, enough. So Tam, thank you for that. Yeah, enough. Enough already. And we work together, and we work with other organizations all over this country and all over this world. Did you know that we have an office at the UN? Unitarian Universalist Association has an office at the UN. It's very active. So we need a community where we are challenged to live an examined life, to uncover old beliefs that we no longer agree with, old childhood programming, and free ourselves to become more of our true selves in line with our now beliefs. Does this sound like Namakwa to you? Our beloved Namakwa Unitarian Universalist congregation, just like every other UU church, has been guided and shaped by our 7 principles and our 6 sources for over 40 years, almost 40 years, 1985. Before that, we had principles and objectives from 1961. And the language back in 1961 was not gender inclusive. So hopefully you're familiar with our 7 principles, but maybe you're not. As Unitarian Universalists, we look to our 7 principles as statements that guide us and help to define our values. But the 7 principles are actually a covenant with all other Unitarian Universalists. In some ways, that statement in white at the very top is the most important. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote. And then we have our principles. We do not say we believe. Now, I know it's kind of hard to agree to something that you may not believe, but the fact that it's a covenant means it's a relationship. We are in relationship together because we agree to make these happen, and this is how we agree to treat each other in the world. So the word covenant is key, because as Unitarian Universalists, for hundreds and hundreds of years, we have been allergic to the word creed or statements of faith, professions of faith. The 7 principles have been sacred to many of us. And like I said, the first one, this version came out in 1985. But in the early 80s, we were asked to rewrite the principles because we have this rule in our bylaws that every 10 years we need to review. This is called the Article 2 part of our bylaws. We have to review it and say, do these still apply? I don't know. And they decided it didn't have gender inclusive language and it needed to be rewritten. So it was rewritten in 1985. So we've been reviewing them and saying, yeah, they're good enough. Yeah, that's all right. But about 10 years ago, I have to mention that Walter Royal Jones, who was the minister at Foothills way back, was the chair of the committee that helped to rewrite the 7 principles that we now have. And Ellen Johnson Fay, Reverend Dr. Ellen Johnson Fay, who was the minister at All Souls in Colorado Springs, was also on that committee. So that's our Colorado connection. However, about 10 years ago, people started saying, you know, our 7 principles don't say anything about love. And love is a key central point to our theology. That's a little weird. And you know, we really need to lift up anti-racism and dismantling white supremacy culture, the culture that we swim in. And so we really want to add something to our principles that address that. So for a while, there was this thing called the 8th Principle Project, where we would add an 8th principle about anti-racism. So in response to all of these ideas, in 2020, the epic year of 2020, the UUA board assigned an Article 2 study commission to look at changing our principles. And so here are the members of that committee. I'm not going to go through all of their names because if you're like me, you would forget them. But they're amazing people. Some are ministers and some young adults that were youth when they started. Things change. They have been gathering input and writing a report and recommendations over the past 3 years. They have recommended significant changes to our principles and purposes and are asking for feedback from all the congregations. Recommendations for amendments to the changes will be taken between now and General Assembly at the end of June. The new principles, values, and covenant will be voted on at General Assembly this year, and our delegates will be part of that vote. So, my friends, in good Unitarian Universalist fashion, I trust your ability to think critically about this major revision. So give it a chance and see if it reflects your values and understanding of Unitarian Universalism for you. If you are feeling resistance to changing the 7 principles, I completely understand. It's like, what? How can you do that? But our 7 principles were never written with the intention of being turned into a creed or profession of faith. They were never written in stone. They were always written with the intention that they would be revised in the future so that we stay relevant to our world here and now. It is helpful to know that this committee was charged to do a few things. So a few quotes from the board state that the committee will, quote, propose any revisions that will enable our Unitarian Universalist Association and member congregations and our covenanted communities to be a relevant and powerful force for spiritual growth, moral growth, healing, and justice. Proposed changes should articulate core Unitarian Universalist theological values. The board believes that one core theological value shared widely among Unitarian Universalists is love. What do you think? Is that true? Is love the spirit of this church? So they also go on to talk about the importance of committing to anti-racism and anti-oppression in rewriting our, they're not calling them principles, so I'm not really clear on what to call them yet. Values, I think. The commission shall decenter habitual practices that reinforce white supremacy culture. The commission is instructed to include in its considerations and deliberations the clear call from General Assembly in 2017 for the inclusion of another principle explicitly calling us to commit to active anti-racism. That was the 8th principle project. So there's a lot more in the report because we're Unitarian Universalists. We write a lot. I think it's a 26-page report. And of course, I'm not going to read any more of it other than what they have proposed. But if you want to read the whole thing, I would encourage you to do so. You just have to go to the uua.org, and it's right on the front page. There's information about it, and there's a cool little YouTube video. So I really do want to get your input, and it's very important that this congregation especially feels empowered to share your perspective, because you went through a time where you felt disempowered, and you were disempowered. And it's time to reclaim your place in the UUA, okay? Yes?
changes are getting rid of the 7 principles?
So we're going to go over that now. Okay, so as we go to the next slide, thank you. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation. This is what's written. I should have said quote. This is what's written. We covenant congregation to congregation and throughout our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are. So these are shared values. So I know it's hard to go, wait, can we just call them principles? I'm used to calling them principles. They're calling them shared values. So if you have a better name, write it down, let me know. But it starts with interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. And did you guys get handouts? Do we have enough? Everybody? Okay. Do you want a handout? Could someone get, you have an extra? Oh, great. Sharon needs a handout. Thank you. I was trying to be nice to our slide folks and not put everything on slides. So the first one, these are six shared values. So the 7 principles are what we have had in the past for the last 35 years. And so they are proposing 6 values, starting with interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships.
So are we getting rid of the 7 principles?
Yes.
That's the proposal.
Yes.
And these are the replacement.
Yes. Yes. So there are 6 shared values. Don't throw any tomatoes at me, I didn't do it. So it's a hard shift, because I know I have the 7 principles like written in stone inside of me, and so it's good to shake things up. So they're shaking us up. So the second one is pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. And I don't want to read through each one of them in detail. I'm going to let you do that. And if we need more copies, I'll make more copies. Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. Transformation. We adapt to a changing world, which is what this is, adapting to a changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. That's what that one's about. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. Cultivating a spirit of gratitude and hope. And equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. So they kind of took the first one and put it at the end and put the last one at the beginning. And transformation equals evolution. Yeah, at one time, Tam just brought up the second to last one, transformation. At one time, that was they were using the word evolution instead of transformation, but they changed it. So, once again, these are not belief statements, but covenantal agreements. And I have to say, if any of you have been a part of writing a mission statement, right, wordsmithing, right? Wordsmithing. So this is wordsmithing with about 10,000 people or so. So what are we really doing? We're trying to put our finger on, with words, who we are and what we do, what we're all about. So they say in their video that not everybody on the committee, and they don't expect everybody to be like every word. And when the 7 principles came out in 1985, there was a lot of argument and brouhaha, is what comes to mind, then too. So that's all right. That's who we are. Let that come up. That's part of the process. So if there are words you don't like, things you don't like, you don't have to. And write it down. If you think something should be changed, if you've got some ideas, let's have our delegates, or I'm a delegate as well, we'll propose some changes. You're empowered to be a part of that. But once again, these are not belief statements, they're covenantal agreements, how we agree to be together with each other and in the world. These statements define the heart and soul of our beloved faith tradition for decades into the future. So it is a big deal. So do these statements name Unitarian Universalism for you? And since our faith tradition is democratic, they are asking for your input. So so it occurs to me, and I only thought of this last night, I apologize, that it would probably be good to have some forums for us to talk about it. So I will schedule a forum for us to be able to sit and talk about this in more detail, because I would love to gather your input. But for now, let's end with love is the spirit of this church, and service is our calling. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. May that be so. Amen. I invite you now to sing along one more step as we rise in body and spirit. My friends, as we connect in spirit with all those around us and celebrate our beloved community, I share these closing words by Michael Schuler, Reverend Dr. Michael Schuler. If you are proud of this church, become its advocate. If you are concerned for its message, for its future, share its message. If its values resonate deep within you, give it a measure of your devotion. This church cannot survive without your faith, your confidence, and your enthusiasm. Its destiny, the larger hope, rests in your hands. May it be so.